I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what I consider to be the most powerful healing art that I know. Here's a depiction of reflexology, in Spanish, digitopuntura, that was painted, it says, in 2330 BC in a tomb in Egypt. So reflexology is a very ancient healing art that cured me of lower back pain, where I was scheduled for surgery and was able to call off the surgery after having reflexology treatments that cured me. The idea is that every single part of the body is connected through nerves, which is obvious, and that when any part is pressed, say in the hand, the lumbar reflex will affect the lumbar, but the reason why reflexology is so incredibly powerful is that if you're working on the lumbar reflex, for example, it goes right up into the brain, to the part of the brain that controls the lumbar, and it releases the trauma within the brain to release the trauma in the lower back and allow it to cure itself. This practice is just remarkable with how well it works. So in your hand there's a reflex for the lumbar, and in the feet there are also reflexes for the lumbar, and at the molecular level, microscopic level I should say, where the arteries and the veins intercept, the blood wastes are trying to pass from the arteries to the veins to be eliminated, and they clog up when there's a problem with the lumbar, and it creates crystals in that part of the foot which you press upon, and that reawakens a nerve channel into your lumbar but also right up into the brain, to the part of the brain that controls the lumbar. And so any point on your body which is pressed will actually affect the healing at the level of the brain. Here you can see how the body is reflected in the feet, with the solar plexus point in the middle. This is the most important point in reflexology. It's found also in that upper quadrant of the feet. There's a point for the pituitary gland right in the top of the toes and the brain. I taught reflexology throughout Latin America, and these slides are in Spanish, but certainly understood in English. Here you can see again the relationship between the body and the feet in this case. All these points are found in the hands also. So taking a closer look here, you can see areas where you can press for the eyes, the pituitary gland, the throat, thyroid, lungs, the solar plexus, liver, gallbladder, kidneys. Kidneys are always done first. They're always massaged first so that the kidneys can prepare for the excess of toxins that are released by the body during the treatment. And this helps them prepare to release those toxins through the urine. Here you can see the transverse colon area and the small intestines and appendix, sciatic, everything is here. Now these reflexes for the back are actually up on the inside of the foot, and we'll see that in a chart coming up. Here you can see where the leg relates to the arm. So if you have a sprained ankle, you grab the wrist right there. The number 1 relates to the ankle, and so you can actually heal a sprained ankle immediately, especially if you do it right away. You can get up and walk and not feel a thing. You can fix up a knee. I've done many knee massages by working on the elbow. In other words, we never want to work directly on an affected area. So if you have an elbow problem, you can work on the knee on the same side. So it goes right up into the hip area, which in the arm is into the shoulder. Pretty fascinating. I can actually fix up a knee while I'm hiking by working on my elbow, either on the inside or the outside of the elbow, depending on whether the injury is on the inside or the outside of the knee. So the left foot is very similar to the right foot, except that here's where you'll find the heart reflex. There's the stomach, the kidney. The right foot will have more of the liver, because the liver's on the right side of the body. Hígado in Spanish, and there's the gallbladder, the vesícula biliar. Here you can see another depiction of the different zones in the body and how they're related. So there's a reflex for the lower back, right there. In fact, that's almost down into the tailbone. And then lumbar would be up in this area right here. Midpoint in the back up here, going up to this bone, which relates to the shoulder blades. When you get up into the neck here, I usually go around to the other side of the toe. Because this is so bony in here, but I'm able to get to those reflexes on the other side of the toe. The front here being the throat reflexes, right in here. Mandibles, if you have a tooth pulled, you can kill the pain immediately by pressing in the mandible zone here. Up here would be the nose and sinuses. Solar plexus is up in here, in the bottom of the foot. Intestines. And here's the prostate on the man, and on the woman it's the uterus. This is what I press on a woman in order to instigate labor. Here's the same point for the lumbar on the hand, and you notice that the thumb is in an L shape so that it won't tire. Para que no se canse, ¿no? Está en forma de L, enganchando, like hooking in to the hand. The lumbar is down here. This is the midpoint in the back, and then you get up to the shoulder blade area here. Throat, mandibles, sinuses, nose, solar plexus. The lungs are all through here. The liver on the right hand. The spleen on the left. Intestines. And right down in this point in the middle here is the rectum, and that's a very important point. I found out when I had any problems with diarrhea or constipation. I could get rid of either one by working on the rectal reflex. Here's an area to stimulate the lymphatic system. There you can see in the inside of the foot where the lumbar reflex is. Uterus or prostate on the inside, and on the outside it's the testicles in the man and the ovaries in the woman, just halfway between the ankle bone and the bottom of the foot. Chest. You can actually touch the sciatic nerve running through here. Just fascinating. It sort of teaches yourself as you work, because you'll be able to feel sensitivity and whenever there's a problem. Like if there's a lumbar problem, it'll be real sensitive in here, or if your bladder's acting up. And so over a few days, if you work on that regularly, the pain will go away, the crystals are reabsorbed by the blood and eliminated through the kidneys, and your body heals itself. So this point for the rectum I considered real important, because if you press on it, it will actually stop diarrhea, and it will help the body retain fluids for a couple of days and then return to normalcy after a few days. If you're constipated, that's a point to work to get things moving. And if you have diarrhea, that's where you actually press and hold until diarrhea stops. And it'll stay that way for a couple of days usually. And your body will recover. So it's important to know that you have to hold that thumb in an L shape, or else it will tire very easily. Plus you can't really get into the reflexes that well unless you hook into it that way. And be sure to drink lots of water to help the kidneys flush itself and themselves. And also remember to wash your hands after working on someone, because sometimes we pick up energy from others, and sometimes it might be a negative energy from a disease or something. And so it's always good to wash your hands and purify yourself with water.